Another way to animate using ActionScript is with something called transitions. Let me demonstrate what those are. Here's a transition called Pixel Dissolve. Notice that the image comes in kind of looks like pixel by pixel. When I click on the image, it leaves pixel by pixel. The transitions are special animations that Flash has for objects coming in or going out. So I'm going to close this window and go over to Transition Start. And we'll start writing some code in just a minute to create these transitions. So in this document, I have one movie clip that I'm interested in. And if I click on it, it's an instance of MC Scientist. The instance name is MC_SCI. And I have an actions layer. Let's go in there and start applying some actions. I'm going to press F9 after that blank keyframe is selected in the actions layer to open up the actions panel. Before you animate a transition, you have to do a few key things first. The first thing we're going to do is type import space mx.transitions.*. What that does is it imports all of the class files in the transitions folder. I'm going to type on the next line by pressing enter. I'm going to type import space mx.transitions.easing.*. Semicolon. Within the transitions folder, there's a folder called easing. And you might wonder why the .* didn't catch that folder. Well, the .*, like I said earlier, just catches class files, not any folders. And so inside of the transitions folder, there's a folder called easing. And inside of that folder, there are a bunch of class files. And so we say .* to import all of those class files so we can use all of our easing classes. Right, now let's actually create the transition. Press enter a few times to go down a few lines. Now type transition manager with capital T, capital M for manager, .start, all lowercase, open parenthesis. The first thing you need to type, before I do this, I'm going to click away to get rid of that code hinting. I don't want that there. The first thing that you need to type in the parentheses is the object that you're going to apply the transition to. So I'm going to type MC_SCI, and then a comma. And now we're going to do something a little bit different, and don't freak out, it's not too crazy, but we're just going to do this for transitions because it gets kind of confusing. So I'm going to press enter. I know it's kind of crazy before I close the parentheses, but just bear with me for a second. Open curly brace or bracket, like I always say. Enter. And now we're going to type the characteristics of our transition. Notice I put a curly brace here. When you're doing a transition, you put everything in curly braces, or within the brackets. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to type is the word type. And what that is we identify the type of transition we want to do. And there's several different ones. I'm kind of going to talk about them later. You can also look in the help menu under transitions and you'll find out all the different kinds of transitions you can do. The other one I demonstrated earlier was a pixel dissolve. Now we're going to do a zoom. So I'm going to type a space and then a zoom with capital Z, comma, enter. I'm going to type direction, colon, space, transition with a capital T, .in, capital IN, comma, enter. That's just saying the direction. You could either go in or out. You know, the object's going to come in or it's going to fade out or whatever. And so that's how you control it. Transition.in or transition.out. Right now I'm going to type duration. And as you may guess, I'm going to type a colon afterwards. And this is going to be the duration of the animation in seconds. So I'm going to type 5. That'll be a good amount of time for this animation. And now I'm going to type easing, colon, space. Make sure you don't type a semicolon. I typed a semicolon just there, so I had to change it to a colon, space. And then I'm going to do no easing, and so we can change it later if we want to. I'm going to type none, capital N, .ease, and then capital N again for none. None.ease none. Okay, now this time I don't want to type a comma. If I type a comma, Flash is going to think I'm going to type in another parameter for this transition. So, no comma here. Just enter, close curly brace, or close bracket. Alright, and now before I run the transition, I have to close. Up here we did an open parenthesis, and so I'm going to have to close that before the transition will work. So I'm going to close the parenthesis, and I'm going to press semicolon, now test the movie, and watch the transition animate. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so it comes in, the easing's alright, not too exciting. If I want to change the easing, I can just change the word none here to bounce, capital B, .ease out. And if you want a whole list of all the different easing that you can do, you just look up easing under the help menu, it'll tell you all about it. I'm going to test the movie again. And it comes in, it kind of does a cool little bounce, ease effect. Pretty fun. And so that's how you create transitions in Flash. Transition manager.start, and you do the parameters like that. Like I said earlier, you don't have to press enter and do all the curly braces exactly like this. I just always do it like this to keep it more organized. And so that's on a basic level how you create a transition. Don't forget also that you need to import the transitions before you can use them. I also recommend importing the easing as well.